Is Israel regretting not observing the ceasefire in Lebanon as Hezbollah responds with one of its deepest strikes of the war? Raising the stakes in the conflict. Israelis see no relief despite the truce, as Hezbollah missiles trigger panic and leave damage in their wake across affected areas. A late-night alarm sounds in Israel's largest city, Tel Aviv, as well as in the coastal city of Ashdod, sending residents rushing for cover. As Iran refuses to back off and shuts the Strait of Hormuz again, Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu is left with no easy options and may be forced to retreat.
Following repeated appeals from the Lebanese government to enter into peace negotiations with us, last night I instructed the cabinet to open direct negotiations with Lebanon.
At this time, I say to Iran's southern neighbors that you are witnessing a miracle. So see correctly, understand correctly, stand in the right place, and be suspicious of the promises and lies of the devils.
Hezbollah and Israel kept up their attacks on the night of April 9th to 10th, adding to the confusion and uncertainty surrounding the ceasefire. Hezbollah launched what it described as its deepest attack yet in the ongoing war by targeting the southern coastal city of Ashdod. The IDF said it intercepted the missile fired at the southern coastal city before it could cause greater damage. No injuries were reported immediately, according to a report by the Times of Israel, though the situation remained tense. Sirens sounded in Tel Aviv and nearby towns in central Israel after the missile interception, warning residents to take cover. The IDF said sirens were also activated in Tel Aviv over fears that falling fragments could cause damage on the ground. Air raid sirens were also triggered in northern Israel amid growing fears of a Hezbollah drone attack. Amid intensifying hostilities, Israel's prime minister signaled that Lebanon, too, could eventually see a truce. Netanyahu's comments came after Iran claimed that Lebanon was included in the truce with the US, adding to the confusion. However, the US and Israel had denied including Lebanon in the two-week ceasefire deal, rejecting those claims. In response to Israeli attacks on Lebanon, Iran once again shut the Strait of Hormuz on April 9th, escalating the pressure. The reopening of the key oil shipping route through the Strait of Hormuz was one of Trump's conditions for a truce.
I want to tell you there is no ceasefire in Lebanon. We are continuing to strike Hezbollah with force, and we will not stop until we restore your security. Following repeated appeals from the Lebanese government to enter into peace negotiations with us, last night I instructed the cabinet to open direct negotiations with Lebanon in order to achieve two goals. 1. The disarmament of Hezbollah. 2. A historic, sustainable peace agreement between Israel and Lebanon.
Meanwhile, Iran's supreme leader issued a statement urging the Middle East to remain wary of the West and its wider intentions.
At this time, I say to Iran's southern neighbors that you are witnessing a miracle. So see correctly, understand correctly, stand in the right place, and be suspicious of the promises and lies of the devils. We are still waiting for a suitable response from you to show you our brotherhood and goodwill. This will not happen except by your opposition to the arrogant, who will not miss any opportunity to humiliate you and exploit you. We have not and do not seek war, but we will not give up our rights in any way. And in this regard, we are considering all the resistance fronts as a whole. Dear nation, although with the end of the official period of mourning for the martyrdom of our great leader, it may shed the attire of mourning, its resolute determination to avenge his pure blood, and that of all the martyrs of the second and third imposed wars, remains alive in its soul and heart, and it will persistently be on the lookout for its fulfillment.
On April 9th, the IDF said it had killed a close aide to Hezbollah chief Naim Qassem in a pinpoint airstrike in Beirut. The target was named as Ali Yusuf Hashi, Qassem's secretary and nephew, hit in the Tallet Kayot district of the capital. The airstrike partially collapsed a multi-story building just outside Hezbollah's Dahia stronghold, sending shockwaves through central Beirut. The IDF said Hashi played a central role in managing Qassem's office and security network, presenting him as more than just a personal assistant. Israel's prime minister hailed Hashi's killing as a major blow and vowed to keep hitting Hezbollah wherever necessary, from Beirut to the border hills. Overnight, Israeli jets also struck two central crossings over the Litani River, which the army says were key routes for moving weapons into southern Lebanon. Netanyahu said, and I quote, "We continue to strike Hezbollah with force, precision, and determination. In Beirut, we eliminated Ali Yusuf Hashi, the personal secretary of Hezbollah terror organization Secretary General Naim Qassem and one of the people closest to him. At the same time, overnight, the IDF struck a series of terror infrastructures in southern Lebanon. Crossings used to transfer thousands of weapons, rockets, and launchers, as well as weapons depots, launchers, and Hezbollah headquarters. Our message is clear: whoever acts against Israeli civilians will be struck. We will continue to strike Hezbollah wherever required, until we restore full security to the residents of the north." Unquote. On the ground, Israel's 401st Armored Brigade reports finding an underground shaft in the south stuffed with rockets, RPGs, grenades, and improvised bombs. Airstrikes also hit a building where the 215th Artillery Regiment says it had identified at least 2 Hezbollah operatives moving in and out. Lebanon's health ministry says more than 1,700 people have been killed and almost 6,000 wounded since fighting escalated on March 2nd. Israel, for its part, claims its large wave of April 8 strikes went after hundreds of Hezbollah fighters, weapons depots, and command sites across the country. In retaliation, Hezbollah fired around 30 rockets at northern Israel on April 9th, according to the IDF. Air raid sirens sounded in Kiryat Shmona and nearby Galilee communities, with most rockets reportedly falling in open areas but keeping residents in shelters. The latest assault marked Hezbollah's first major strike since the US publicly announced a 2-week truce with Iran, technically outside the direct scope of the ceasefire. Hezbollah said the rocket specifically targeted the Manara settlement in northern Israel, describing it as a reprisal against what it called recent Israeli violations. The group stated it was retaliating to what it described as Israeli violations of the broader understanding between Iran and the US, even though the deal was not meant to cover Lebanon. Hezbollah accused Israel of launching around 100 strikes on Lebanon within a 10-minute window on April 8th, calling the intensity disproportionate and indiscriminate. In its statement, Hezbollah warned that its response would continue as long as it perceives Israeli U.S. aggression against Lebanon and its population to persist. Israeli media reported that at least one rocket fired from Lebanon was intercepted by Israeli air defense systems, reducing the immediate impact of the barrage. Meanwhile, strikes across Lebanon have reportedly killed over 110 civilians and wounded more than 800 others, according to Lebanese health ministry sources.